All right, what's up, everybody? I'm very excited about today's question because it's about stem cells. All right, so let's get straight into it. It says stem cells are found in many places within the human body. For an adult, where is one place that stem cells are not found? So again, you might think that this is a strictly memory-based question, but it's not, because I'm going to show you an intuitive way to attack it. Because you may not know whether or not these places have stem cells, but I'm going to again try to show you that there's a logical way to figure it out. The keywords here are stem cells, right? Because stem cells are one of the biggest things in biology right now. They won a Nobel Prize recently. They're a big deal. Another keyword is adult, because there can be stem cells in a child, there can be stem cells in a teenager, but we're talking about stem cells in an adult. So before we even get to it, what are stem cells? Well, stem cells are cells that can, one, either replicate themselves, so they can make more of themselves, but at the same time, stem cells, assuming you're giving them some sort of factors in their environment, can also differentiate into multiple different cell types, including red blood cells, neurons, etc. Okay, so stem cells can do a lot. So there's obviously a lot of applications for stem cells. But the way we're going to do this is we're going to apply this understanding of stem cells to each answer choice. So we're going to apply the fact that stem cells can regenerate and make more of themselves to each answer choice, right? And the way we're going to do that is just go down the list strategically one by one and see if stem cells are present in that organ. And obviously, if you don't already know, you should learn. If through this question you learn that certain organs have stem cells, you should remember that in your memory bank. So with that, let's get to our first one. Does the skin have stem cells? I'm going to tell you right now, yes, the skin does. But now I'm also going to tell you an intuitive way to remember that. All right. So yes, the skin does have stem cells. So that is not the right answer to our question because we were asking which one does not. But how do you know that? Well, you may know that you get cuts and bruises all the time. You're consistently losing skin cells. We lose skin cells on the daily. Okay. We lose skin cells on the daily. But the fact is, the stem cells basically make these skin cells come back. You know, we lose skin cells, but then the fact that we have these stem cells, these adult skin stem cells, as this image shows that we can divide to make daughter stem cells, which can then eventually differentiate into a skin cell. And so when we get these cuts and bruises, the stem cells basically help us make up for the fact that we're losing these cells all the time. And these stem cells are present in the adult because they're adult stem cells. So the fact is, when we get these cuts and bruises, the stem cells help us heal from them because they can basically differentiate into more skin cells. Okay, so think about that. When you're thinking about where stem cells are and where they're not, think about the things that are replaceable. Think about the fact that if you lose these cells in certain places of your body, can we get them back? So now let's go to the second one. The second one was muscles. Do you think we have stem cells in muscles? Well, again, I can tell you that we do. But if you didn't know that they did, if you didn't know we had muscle stem cells, you can again think about these applications, about pulling a muscle. When you pull a muscle, you lose muscle stem cells. I mean, you lose muscle cells, right? You lose muscle cells you basically damage muscle cells. But what do you know about pulling a muscle? Tons of athletes damage their muscles every year, and yet they can still heal, right? The muscles still end up healing. And the reason they heal is because you have stem cells. These stem cells can come in and basically differentiate into the muscle cells. And so when you lose muscle cells, let's say you lose muscles, right? Let's say you lose muscle cells, then basically stem cells will add new muscle cells because the stem cells will then divide and make new muscle cells. And so yes, your muscles do have muscle cells, muscle stem cells. But the fact is, even if you didn't know they did, you can apply the fact that, muscles are a very dynamic organ in your body, or very dynamic tissue in your body. And every time you lose the muscles, you can get them back. And therefore, you do have muscle stem cells. All right, so now let's move on to the last one. The third one, which is retina. So do you think our eye, or the retina, which is the backmost layer of the eye that has all the cells responsible for converting the light signals we get into actual neuronal signals, do you think that has stem cells? Well, what do we know about the eye? Well, we know the eye is extremely sensitive. You may know that every time you get anything in your eye, it takes ages to get it out, and it actually hurts a lot. And more importantly, your eyes are pretty much irreplaceable. If you lose them, you're not going to get them back, right? Not replaceable, right? You can't get your eyes back once you lose them, right? And the medical application of this is blindness. Tons and tons of people every year can go blind if they don't properly take care of their eyes. And unfortunately, there are people who are born blind if they don't properly have the cells responsible for making this intricate network of connections. And so the application here is, the fact is, if you lose cells in the eye, they're often really hard to replace. And believe it or not, there are tons and tons of medical companies out there right now trying to work on getting these photoreceptors for people who are blind, because there are no stem cells in your eyes. There are no stem cells. And so when you lose any one of these important cells, the fact is you can't replace them easily unless you get stem cells from the outside. And so there was a paper I read where scientists are actually trying to put stem cells from the outside into the eye to get them to differentiate into these photoreceptors. But that's often very difficult to do because the eye does not have stem cells. So believe it or not, C is the right answer here. There are no stem cells in your eyes. And so even though we have the right answer, I'm going to just keep going and show you why the next answer was not wrong. There are tons and tons and tons of stem cells in your bone. Believe it or not, your bone marrow has these things called hematopoietic stem cells. And these stem cells differentiate into tons of things. One of the things they differentiate into are erythrocytes, which are basically red blood cells. So red blood cells are huge because they're remade every 120 days, right? And that's something you should know, because when you donate blood, they often take 5 vials of blood from me. Last time I had a blood test, they took 5 vials of blood from me, and they needed to do all these tests, and I was like, man, they're taking so much blood from me. But it's not that big of a deal because all that blood gets remade because of the stem cells. The stem cells are like, yo, bro, don't worry, I got you. I'll take care of this. And so when that blood is lost, we remake it, and even red blood cells that are already in your blood, every 3 months or so, or 4 months, they're remade as well. So that's why we have these stem cells. So those are known as red blood cells. All right. Similarly, another thing that these stem cells differentiate into are your T cells and B cells. This is also known as your immune system. And you guys already know this because when you get sick, right, these cells come in, these B and T cells are amplified, and you get more and more of them. And when these B and T cells are amplified, you eventually end up getting well. So the point is, every time you get sick, we can make more and more of these cells because we have all of these stem cells in our body. So I just want you to know that there are tons of places where stem cells are found in your body. And if you didn't already know them by heart, hopefully this question got you there. But more importantly, if you didn't know where they were, I hope this question was able to show you intuitively how you can figure it out, because skin is something we need to produce all the time. Muscle is something we need to produce all the time. Bone, that's responsible for making your immune system and your red blood cells, is something that we need all the time as well. And for that reason, they have stem cells, right? And I obviously did not do it justice. I think I wrote A, B, and D have stem cells. But C does not. And you can intuitively, I'm hoping I showed you a little bit intuitively how you could have reasoned this question out, because your eyes are very sensitive. They're a very, very privileged part of your body. And for that reason, they're very irreplaceable. And sometimes the reason why they're irreplaceable is because they don't have these things called stem cells. And so for that reason, the best answer here is C. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, comment, like, share, and see you guys in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Really appreciate it. You want to check out any of my other videos, there's going to be one right here. Another link to one of my videos right here. And another video right here. Why not? I'll put one video right over here. And last but not least, if you want to subscribe to this channel, really appreciate it, because I'm still an early YouTuber trying to get it down. But a subscription button should be right over here. So please subscribe. Cool. Thanks. See you guys in the next one. Hope you find these videos helpful.